Joining me is the country's top foreign affairs writer, Greg Sheridan, The Australian. Greg, this is a very different tone from Trump, even if he hasn't, gone on and said, and so now I'm going to hit Russia with even more sanctions. So now I'm not, so now I'm going to arm Ukraine to the teeth to force Putin to stop fighting. He hasn't said that yet, but a changed tone.
Oh, well, you're right, Andrew. It's great to be with you. And this is pretty significant from Trump. He hasn't spoken about Putin in those tones before, and everything with Trump is personal. So obviously he feels that Putin has personally let him down. I'm surprised that Putin hasn't been just a fraction more subtle. He grossly flatters Trump, and that normally works. But just hold off the missiles for a week or something, and he can later blame Ukraine for, the ceasefire not coming about or something. But Putin has made a fool of Trump, really, because Trump tells us, a few weeks ago, Trump said, I think Putin is going to be more generous. You're going to be surprised at how generous he's going to be. He wants a ceasefire. He wants a peace deal. Now, everyone knows the best we can get at the moment is probably a ceasefire in place. If Trump can't get that, then there's no argument that Trump has added a single thing. And Trump in his first term actually was tougher on Putin than his predecessors had been, certainly than Obama had been. He put on more sanctions and he gave more powerful, lethal weapons to Ukraine. As you say, if Trump's threat now is just to walk away, well, that would be walking away from support for Ukraine. So we don't know what Trump is going to do next, but this is a good day, I would think.
Yes, Trump threatens to walk away if there's no ceasefire. He doesn't realise that's exactly what Putin would like him to do. So that's not a threat, it's an incentive to keep fighting. Meanwhile, Israel, Greg, has dug itself into what I think is a no-win war now. I totally get that Hamas is still holding Jewish hostages. About 23 are still thought to be alive. But I fear that Israel now is losing so much support as it kills more and more Palestinians without freeing any more hostages. Now it's allegedly killed 9 children of a doctor in Gaza and critically injured her husband. Israel's also restricted food supplies to Gaza, although it did let supplies in again last week. And our Prime Minister today was very damning. Have a listen.
People are starving. And the idea that a democratic state withholds supply is an outrage. Now, that is my clear position. It's one I've indicated clearly and directly to the Israeli government.
Now, Greg, I'm less sure about the word starving. There's been a lot of starvation propaganda all through this war. But has Israel now gone too far for its own good?
Well, it's a very sober assessment you make, Andrew, a very sober assessment. I think Hamas did a terrible thing to the Palestinians when, in releasing the first batch of hostages, it put on such a dance and a performance, and that communicated to Israelis a couple of things: that Hamas remained in charge in Gaza, and that it was going to continue to torture Israeli hostages and their families. And I really think Hamas sealed a very aggressive Israeli reaction at that point. However, there's no doubt that, like words cannot express the depth of my revulsion at what Hamas has done and what Hamas is. And the moral responsibility for what happens in Gaza lies predominantly with Hamas, and they could stop it tomorrow by releasing the hostages and laying down their arms. But having said all that, Israel certainly does have moral responsibilities towards the population of Gaza. And if you are the administering authority in a territory, you have responsibilities to the people in that territory, even if you're in the midst of conflict. And you've certainly got to make sure that they get adequate food. The other thing, an element of Israel's position, which I have been critical of all the way through, is Israel still won't tell us what it thinks happens on the day after. Now, it may well be that Israel has to resume full administrative control of Gaza, and with that comes full responsibility. That may well be, even though, all the international community hates that idea, that may well be necessary, because one thing is clear: Israel won't tolerate Hamas being back in charge of Gaza. Israel would like to have some sort of Arab peacekeeping force and so on, but answer me this, which Arab soldier is going to shoot a Palestinian in order to prevent them from undertaking terrorism against Israel? So I do think, Israel is now in a very morally difficult position, and it just can't go on like this. It has to tell us what it's going to do, and it has to provide for the basic necessities of the population of Gaza.
Yeah, I think morally is one issue, utilitarian is another. I don't know that it's doing itself any favours by keeping on fighting, so many people dying for no hostages released. Greg Sheridan, thank you so much. I should tell people to read your wonderful column, still up online in The Australian on Saturday. I wanted to discuss it with you, but we've sort of run out of time. But people, I urge you to read it. It's one of the best the paper's run this year.